Did you know that there is a song out there which is a co-write between a former member of The Fall and former Stone Roses guitarist John Squire? And did you know that that song is hilariously awful and was released by probably the stupidest British band of the 1990s? This is DJ Mark Radcliffe, who in 1990 began working for BBC Radio 5 on a show called Hit the North. This is Lard, whose real name is Mark Riley. In the early 90s, he was apparently a record plugger, and it was through this work that he ended up meeting and then joining Mark Radcliffe. And so, the radio presenting duo of Mark and Lard was born. The show that they hosted, Hit the North, was a showcase of upcoming northern talent. And on that same show, Mark and Lard started to perform their own unique versions of other people's songs.
You better beware, you better take care, you better watch out if you've got pubic hair. The cops are out, they're running about, they're wondering if you're going to get your blockbusters out.
That same year, at the latter end of 1993, Mark and Lard moved up from Radio 5 to BBC Radio 1. And on Radio 1, in that late night slot, their ridiculous versions of other people's songs became more frequent. Here's one of my personal favourites from their version of The Bob Dylan Story.
Ow! Johnny's in the basement, he's a bleeding idiot. Sally's got bad breath, sweat stains on her dress. Sarah's a bastard, so is Bill. F*** them all, bunch of look out, twang, find your conch. Rod knows where, now bollocks to you, then you better f*** down the alleyway. Keep looking for trouble, I'll f*** me your brains in your useless bastard. Oh, f*** the yeah.
Mark and Lard, with their Larry northern approach to basically everything, as luck would have it, found themselves in position at Radio 1 in 1993, and the next year, in 1994, Britpop happened, meaning that for the next 4 or 5 years, Manchester culture and northern humour all of a sudden became mainstream. Young indie kids in London were all of a sudden walking with a Liam Gallagher swagger, wearing John Lennon glasses, and talking in Manc accents. Unsurprisingly, in this climate, Mark and Lard were very popular, and they switched from their late-night, slightly obscure slot on Mondays to Thursdays, to a brief run on The Breakfast Show, and then to the early afternoon slot. And it was in that year, 1997, that they formed the stupidest British band of the 90s, the Shire Horses.
A glance at the Shire Horses family tree shows that the lineup of the band has seldom been stable.
Stable? Is that a joke? Nice, stable. See, you get, chill out, babe. I've won her over, she fancies me.
97 was the year indie rock band The Sea Horses released their only album, Do It Yourself. One of my personal favourites, on which there was the track which contained, in my opinion, the greatest British guitar solo of the 1990s, Love Is the Law. Mark and Lard created a parody of this track called Now I Know Where I'm Going, Arkid, complete with 2 sets of Oasis-style brackets in the title. Instead of the Sea Horses, they called themselves the Shire Horses, and the name stuck. Their version of Love Is the Law was credited as a co-write between Mark and Lard and John Squire. And here's a bit of random trivia for you. Mark Riley, also known as Lard, was for a while the bass player for The Fall. So that song is, as far as I'm aware, the one and only co-write between a former member of The Fall and a former member of the Stone Roses. If anyone wants to use that for the hardest, most obscure 90s indie pub quiz question ever. Although I'm not sure John Squire would particularly want to take credit for the demented takeoff of his guitar playing this song opens with.
Noddy Holder.
Yeah, I think Lord's got the makings of to be the best guitarist ever. He's an incredible player,
That's it, tease them, our kid, tease them.
He's got a bit of Hendrix in there, he's got a bit of B.B. King in there.
Rock and roll.
Noddy Holder again.
And I think he can only get better. He'll get better and better as time goes on, especially when he starts using 6 strings on his guitar. He'll really, I mean, he'll take over the world.
You see, a song like Now I Know Where I'm Going, Kid.
Yeah.
You know, that was an attempt to really kind of translate the experiences of being on the road, you know, Mark and Lard, our struggle, really.
Yeah.
And, you know, and triumph over adversity.
I mean, the thing is that what you've got to remember, particularly when you listen to a poignant song like Now I Know Where I'm Going, Our Kid, is that the road took the best of us. You know, Jimmy, Janice, Brian,
Beryl.
Chris Helm of the Seahorses.
Well, it has to be said, when I first heard Mark's voice, it inspired me greatly to actually try and emulate him as much as possible because, you know, it's just that raw talent there. It's a shame that it's all come out in the light now that I have actually stolen a lot of ideas from them too, and it's embarrassing now, really, because now my career's sort of over, I suppose.
By June of 1997, the Shire Horses had become so popular that they were invited to play Glastonbury.
After all these thankless years of struggle, 1997 has been an astonishing time for the Shire Horses. The organisers of Glastonbury Festival, determined to be absolutely certain that at least a few dozen people would show up, took the bit between their teeth and raised the finance to have the Shire Horses headline the coveted early Friday morning slot.
I mean, you know, if you look at that, you know, the Glastonbury Festival of this year, you know, a lot of effort was put into recreating the site as a farmyard, you know, and we wanted it knee-deep in shit, didn't we, to kind of give it a Shire Horse image, you know. And they said to us, do you want a headline? And we said, yes, we do, you know, of course we want a bloody headline.
What a stupid question.
Let's get on there, 10 o'clock Friday morning, you know, position number 1, first band on.
Yeah.
That's you can't get any better than that, you know. And we also cared about the fans. Of course because we wanted to play for them and then let them go home. They don't want to sit around watching shit like, what's that? Radiogram, are they called?
Radiohead,
is it?
I heard them going on about, oh, you know, it was such an emotional experience playing Glastonbury, oh, yeah. Hell, honestly, give me strength. They were on like when it was dark on Saturday night, you know.
No one could see them.
Matthew Wood wrote this review of the Glastonbury set. Picture the scene. It's 10:30 a.m. on a Friday morning. The rain is lashing down and all the campers are knee-deep in mud. Some of the hardy ones brave the elements and make a brief pilgrimage to the second stage. For a while, the rain stops and an eerie quietness overcomes the Vale of Avalon. All quiet, that is, until the Flight of the Valkyries starts up and 2 men, dressed in red fleeces, shorts and Manchester City shirts, fly onto the stage. Rock and roll, they cry, as they leap into a blistering, epic version of the Seahorses' Love is the Law, followed by other classics such as Plums Drop, Lardy Boy, and a few new ones, such as I Want a Roll with It. Is it any coincidence that after they had been on the stage, it sank into the mud? The early Glastonbury audience that year were lucky enough to hear 2 songs that actually were not going to be on their upcoming debut album. Those songs were Plums Drop and I Want a Roll with It.
Right, all right. Right, there's a band from Manchester called Oasis. Don't know if you've heard of them. Now then, 1972, we were called Po Faces. Right? We wrote a song about not being able to get any bread with our soup. We were at a Burnley Inn, we'd splashed out, you know. And it was called, we were shouting to the waiter, "Oi, mush, I want a roll with it!" Right? It's true. All them years later, well, we'll play our version, you see, right? Just the same again. Go on, Prince of Darkness, kick it.
The other mysterious song from the Glastonbury set, however, was called Plums Drop and was never officially released. And there's a fairly good reason for that, because Plum's Drop was their absolutely savage parody of Bop by Hanson. And I think the reason it was unreleased was, I personally suspect Hanson did not give permission, which is not surprising at all when you see the lyrics, which describe the singer as a young, squeaky, hyperactive, precocious little get, refer to the other band members as pig ugly, and go on to sing about the singer's plums dropping approximately 20 times throughout the course of the song. But despite the song never getting an official release, I was able to track down a radio recording of them doing it live on the air on YouTube. Have a listen.
What's happening down there, Larkin? Hey, my voice has gone bonkers and now my plums have dropped. Oh, gosh, my plums dropped in the middle of the hit record. Plums dropped. What are we going to do now? That's the act over with. Listen to it. Plums dropped.
In September 1997, the Shire Horses went on to do a tour of 5 English universities, with every show but London being compared by Peter Kay. They also played a gig at the 100 Club in London, and that was hosted by Mark Lamar.
Because once again the 100 Club, history in the making. 1963 the Stones played here, 1977 the Pistols, and tonight a band, only their second gig, they headlined Glastonbury, but quite graciously offered to go on second in the afternoon, and they've also played in Birmingham. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on rock and roll history in the making, the Shire Horses!
And after the university tour, the Shire Horses' debut album, the worst album in the world ever, came out on November the 3rd, 1997, and entered the UK album charts at number 22. Critics were ecstatic and enthusiastic about the Shire Horses' debut offering. Vox magazine gave the album 1 out of 10, and Q magazine gave it 1 star. The second track on the album was a takeoff of Tatva by Kula Shaker, which they called Tala by Pila Tater.
Rock journalist Stuart McConey.
When you ask who owes the Shire Horses the greatest debt, it would be easy to think who doesn't owe them a debt, really. I think everyone from Kraftwerk to the Brodsky Quartet, Speed Garage, Underground House, they were doing that in 1971. Kula Shaker, obviously. And I'd like to say, if any of Kula Shaker are listening, come clean, just admit it.
People would remember just where they were when they first heard the revolutionary new material. And no one had better reason to do so than Harry Enfield.
I'd just drunk a bottle of whiskey. I was on the edge of a cliff. I was at my lowest ebb ever. And I was on the top of the cliff, just about to jump off. And I was listening to the Two Marks on the radio. Then they played a record by the Shire Horses. I think it was Pila Tater they played. And it was so good that I decided not to kill myself and to come back and to become a comedian. It's really the Shire Horses are responsible for my entire career.
Bob Mortimer.
Well, to be honest, a lot of the early stuff we did, it wasn't so much nicked from them, but we adapted our stuff. Do you know what I mean? I know it's quite an admission, but we just changed their stuff a bit, and we're not alone in doing that.
Has there always been a mystic Eastern element to your music?
Well, not always.
No, there was just when we saw a gap in the market and went for it. You know, we invented the Asian rock crossover, really. It was around the time when we first started importing Baltis into the West Midlands. You know. We'd seen a vacant shop unit there, and we thought, well, we'll get all these Findus menu masters and pretend that they came from Bangladesh.
I mean, it goes to show how important we are, because we were only Asian for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And we started all this, George Harrison to pop in for a Balti.
And also on the album was a particularly idiotic version of All Right by Supergrass.
Right, now then,
I don't know if you've heard of three little lads with big sideburns, look like bright redneck hillbillies to me, probably from Hebden Bridge or something. They call themselves Supergrass. Now, we were called Doofergrass. 1978 we're up to now. And we wrote a song called Feel Like Shite. And like, you know, it does more than rhyme with, all right. It's the same bleeding tune, everything that they've robbed us blind off, innit?
But you know what? Like the Murphys, we're not bitter. Right, are we all right for this?
We'll give it a go.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, we are old, we are cheap, take our teeth out when we sleep, got no friends, bad eyesight, feel like shite.
After the album's release, the Shire Horses then went on in December to play 3 massive arena concerts supporting Blur.
I don't know if you've heard, there's a band called, what are they called again? Tall Lad, Baseball Cap. What are they called? Funny name.
Blur.
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 You don't know if you've heard of them. Great bunch. Been very kind to us on this tour. Big favour to them to have us on, obviously. Big favour from you to listen. But it doesn't stop them being a bunch of robbing gets. Because you wrote that song. What was it about, Arkid?
Right, well, I got a load of money a while ago, right? And I don't want to tell you where, like, but I married this woman, and we went and lived in the country. And honestly, she was just eating cakes, and she turned into this big lardy arse thing at the end of it, you know. And I wrote a song called Country Spouse, and it's a bit like Country House, you know. I mean, I don't want to sound bitter.
1, 2, 3, 4. Again. 1, 2, 3.
The various video clips of the band live come from a digital bonus on the disc of their second album, and judging by what he said there on stage, they were all filmed on tour with Blur.
Even Press Reaction offered a glowing endorsement. Stuart McConey.
I think it's nice to see the Blur have helped them out in a big way like this. And I think it is genuinely down to Blur recognising musical talent and nothing to do with the fact that the Shire Horses have certain pictures in their possession that I think Blur would rather not see go to the newspapers.
As the band took the stage at Manchester's 9X Arena, Mark was unflustered by the occasion.
It's only a small crowd, 16,000. You know, I mean, we've played to crowds of 2.2 million in Osaka. This is nothing. I mean, in fact, the bar was bigger than this at Osaka.
Let me hear you say, yeah! We are the Shire Horses, and we have come to kick some butts tonight. We are the greatest rock and roll band in the world ever! Prepare to be amazed. 1, 2, 3, 4!
What is it about the Shire Horses live experience which you feel has never been captured in the recording studio?
Talent, the musical ability, charisma, sexual potency, devil worship, virgin sacrifice. No, you're just being crass now.
Then, on Christmas Day 1997, an hour-long radio documentary was released about the Shire Horses. And in that documentary, the sad news was shared with the world that the Shire Horses were now to split and go their separate ways, having been personally responsible for every single popular music innovation from the past 50 years.
The pressures of such limitless fame and adulation have taken a terrible toll, and the band have gone their separate ways.
I mean, I've got a solo project that's been on the back boiler for quite a long time, really, which is I'm going to be, I want to do a choral version of some Led Zeppelin songs. Led Zeppelin, I'm calling myself, you know. Come on, you know, like Walking in the Air, like that, but a bit kind of more, a bit heavier. You know, a bit heavier.
I love the Shire Horses story because even the real-world version of it with Mark and Lard could never have happened any other time, really, other than in the middle of the Britpop heyday. Complete with bucket hats and parkas, they were in exactly the right place at the right time and broke out at the absolute height of Northern culture going mainstream. And it probably wouldn't have worked at any other time.
For many people, the Shire Horse's lasting contribution to 19th and 20th century culture goes beyond having made some of the greatest records ever. It's their role as prophets, seers and mystics that has made them modern-day icons.
I mean, a lot of people, you know, get famous just as a byproduct of what it is they do. Now, some people, you know, see that byproduct as just a useless... Well, byproduct. Yeah. Like, for example, you know, if you were making towers and you had a lot of scraps of steel left over.
Yeah.
Right, some people would throw that steel away.
Right.
Other people would fashion a beautiful sculpture of, like, perhaps a mermaid.
Right.
And the mermaid might, in the end, be more famous than the tower.
So you think about that.
The Shire Horses only made the 2 albums, following up their debut with Our Kid A in 2001, which hit number 20 in the album charts and contained many more absolutely idiotic classics, like the Travis cover, Why Is It Always Dairy Lee? But there is also another, even more obscure release that most people don't know about. In 1998, they released another album based on one of their radio skits from their show. It was released under the name of Fat Harry White and was called Baby. Every track is basically some sleazy 70s Muzak backing track, over which Radcliffe sings for a few super gross innuendo-laden lines, like Barry White, using the vocoder to make his voice stupidly deep, before then seemingly getting suddenly distracted, rambling off on some random, also innuendo-laden story, but all of a sudden back in his broad Lancashire accent, all the while having left the Barry White voice effect on. It's totally mental, slightly Python-esque, and very funny.
Radio 1's Beast Whale of Love, Fat Harry White here coming at you from the afternoon wireless. How you doing this afternoon? You're looking good. Hey, I'll tell you what. Hey, you'll never guess who I ran into last night. My very sexy lady friend, Magdalene. You remember Magdalene? She used to work at the supermarket. I'll tell you what, that girl ran that poultry counter like no one else. She could fillet a chicken in no time. In fact, once, after closing, she took me in hand and showed me what to do. Well, she just got out a truly fine pair of breasts, which I handled eagerly, before whipping out my tool and demonstrating how quick a boning could be, you know.
And the Fat Harry White album actually also entered the top 100 in 1998, reaching number 83 for 1 week. And the last rumours of a final Shire Horses live date in their original era swirled in 2001, when it turned out Radiohead were putting together their own mini festival. Radiohead guitarist Johnny Greenwood said to the NME, "We were trying to get the Shire Horses to play, but they're too expensive, and I guess you'd end up hearing all the stuff we've stolen from them over the years, so it's possibly a good thing." Both Shire Horses albums and Fat Harry White are all available to listen to on Spotify, so go check them out if you haven't yet. And of course, I can't end this video without saying a massive thank you to Mark and Lard for all the belly laughs down through the years, not least while making this feature. Because, in the real world, unlike the fictional Shire Horses, they truly are legends who don't actually get the credit they deserve. Let me know your memories of Mark and Lard and the Shire Horses down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time. And as always, a massive thank you to all my supporters on Patreon. If you would be interested in supporting this channel, getting access to over 50 exclusive Patreon-only features, and my ad-free archive, the link is in the description. So hopefully, I'll see you inside.